This week's US CQM Forecast Alert is final sales show a much better economic outlook than GDP. Monthly economic indicators that deviated significantly from ADIMA forecast were import prices and retail sales of automobiles and gas stations in November. These deviations result in the revisions to the CQM forecast. Since November PPI of final demand for goods was significantly higher than the ADIMA forecast, the inventory valuation adjustment was revised downward. As a result, business inventory changes have been revised downward significantly. Job gains in November were lower than the ADIMA forecast, contributing to the downward revision of PCA's economic growth forecast. The economic growth rate predicted by CQM is less than 1%, with 0.82% on the expenditure side and 0.40% on the income side. There are still concerns about negative growth. The downward trend in real aggregated indicators bottomed out in late November and is now growing at a faster rate than real GDP. In particular, real final sales and real domestic final sales have grown at a growth rate of around 2%. In December, concerns about a recession seemed to have disappeared. With the November CPI update, headline inflation and the core PCE price deflator were revised upward, with both now above 2% growth. The downward revision of the GDP price deflator is influenced by import prices in November. The economic growth rate, according to the PCA, was revised downward from 1.72% to 1.61% due to the November employment and real retail sales update. This is about 1% higher than the economic growth rate by CQM forecast. Employment increased 199K in November, below the ADIMA forecast of 223K. Real retail sales have been revised downward compared to the previous week. Conclusions from this week's US CQM Forecast Alert. First, the economic growth rate in 2023 Q4 on both the expenditure and income side is less than 1.0%. Second, the growth rate of real final sales and real domestic final sales are around 2%. The third, the PCA's economic growth forecast was revised downward from 1.72% to 1.61% due to the November employment and real retail sales update. The fourth, when looking at the economy from GDP, the economy becomes pessimistic. However, final sales indicate a much better economic outlook than GDP without concerns of recession. This slide contains additional information about this week's detailed CQM forecast and shows how to access the past US CQM forecast alert.